Have you noticed subtle changes in someone you cherish, perhaps your dear Uncle George, over the past year? Those little things that just don't seem quite right, but you can't quite put your finger on them, can you? Most people assume that passing away in old age happens suddenly, like a light switch flicking off. But the truth is, the body often whispers quiet warnings, sometimes for months, even a year before life reaches its final chapter. Sadly, so many of us miss these gentle signs because they seem insignificant at first glance. And by the time we finally recognize them, it can feel devastatingly too late to truly prepare. In this video, we're going to delve into 5 crucial signs that often appear a year before an elderly person, like your beloved Grandma Betty, departs from this world. These are signs that could easily be overlooked, dismissed as just the normal aches and pains of getting older. But these signals, though often subtle at their onset, hold vital information. Understanding them can provide you, the loving caregiver, with the emotional clarity and practical tools needed to make the absolute most of the precious time you have left with your loved one. Why is this video so incredibly important for you? Recognizing these signs early can empower you to provide better care, to create truly meaningful memories that you'll hold in your heart forever, and to ensure that your loved one's final stage of life is filled with the comfort, dignity, and profound peace they so deserve. By watching until the very end, you'll learn how to navigate these delicate changes with unwavering compassion and clear understanding, ensuring you're not caught off guard by the inevitable, but instead are empowered to make the very best decisions for dear Mr. Henderson. This knowledge can bring a sense of calm and peace of mind during an incredibly challenging time, and help you offer the unwavering love and support your family member desperately needs during their most vulnerable moments. Please stay with us. Understanding these 5 signs is more than just being aware. It's about actively making the remaining moments as beautiful and meaningful as humanly possible. You absolutely won't want to miss these crucial insights that can make all the difference in the world. If you haven't already, I wholeheartedly recommend subscribing to this channel and activating that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Your support truly means the world to me. And if you find value in this video, please consider helping me continue spreading these vital lessons by giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with others who might benefit. If you feel strongly about the topic of this video, please leave a comment with the number 1. If you don't, please comment with the number 0 to let me know how I can improve and create even better videos for you in the future. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Significant weight loss. One of the earliest and most undeniable signs that someone you love, like your sweet Aunt Carol, may be approaching the final chapter of their life is unintentional weight loss. At first, it might seem like nothing more than a small shift, a belt that suddenly needs tightening by a notch or 2, clothes that hang a little looser than before, or a lack of appetite that slowly creeps in like a thief in the night. These changes might be easily dismissed as just part of aging, a natural consequence of getting older. But what we often tragically fail to recognize is that this gradual weight loss, especially when it happens without any conscious effort from dear Grandpa Frank, is rarely a harmless sign. It is a message from the body, a quiet but profound message that says things are beginning to change in ways that are much deeper and more significant than we might want to admit. The body may no longer be absorbing vital nutrients as effectively as it once did. Precious muscle mass starts to diminish, and essential bodily systems begin to slow down, like an old engine gradually losing power. Aging does naturally lead to some loss of muscle, but when this process accelerates rapidly, it's a clear and urgent signal that something is amiss. The body might be struggling to digest food properly, or it may no longer be able to process protein in a way that effectively supports muscle maintenance. This leads to muscle wasting, which isn't just a physical concern. It affects the very core of a person's independence and strength. The loss of muscle mass weakens the body, making even simple movements more difficult, dramatically increasing the risk of dangerous falls, and perhaps most alarmingly, compromising the immune system. A body that can no longer function as robustly as it once did becomes far more susceptible to infections and illnesses, making the entire system more vulnerable and fragile. Appetite changes also play a significant role in this heartbreaking weight loss. Many older adults, like your kind neighbor Mrs. Gable, simply don't experience hunger the way they once did. Their sense of taste dulls, and food no longer holds the same joy and satisfaction it once did. Meals become less about nourishment and more about a burdensome obligation. For some, this tragically results in skipping meals altogether or eating significantly smaller portions, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes with a sense of weary resignation. This isn't just a passing phase. It's a physiological change as the body starts to recognize that its precious energy reserves are dwindling. When this happens, the signals to the brain telling us to eat grow quieter and less frequent, like a fading whisper. What inevitably follows is a lack of energy, diminished strength, and a gradual decline in overall health that no amount of coaxing or encouraging can truly stop. Underneath it all, there may also be underlying medical conditions that are significantly contributing to this alarming weight loss. Diseases like cancer, heart failure, and kidney disease often progress silently, without showing obvious signs until much later, when intervention becomes incredibly difficult. Even conditions such as depression or cognitive decline can lead to a reduced desire to eat and contribute to a devastating cycle of weight loss. These insidious illnesses don't just take a toll on the physical body. They quietly chip away at the mind, causing confusion, deep despair, and social withdrawal. The body is simply no longer able to sustain itself in the way it once so effortlessly did. Some families, in their desperate love and concern, try to solve this heartbreaking problem by urging their loved ones to eat more, offering their favorite foods, or supplementing meals with high-protein shakes. While these efforts come from a place of profound love and good intentions, if the weight continues to decline relentlessly despite these actions, it's absolutely essential to recognize that the issue isn't solely about diet. It's the body, in its wisdom, preparing for something much deeper, a transition that, at this stage, cannot be avoided. Pushing for larger meals may not yield the desired results and could even cause discomfort. Instead, the focus should gently shift to comfort, offering easy-to-eat foods that are appealing, prioritizing hydration, and creating moments of warmth, gentle care, and quiet companionship that give the person peace of mind and a sense of security. If you observe significant weight loss in an elderly loved one, like your gentle Uncle Barry, especially if they're also eating less, feeling noticeably weaker, or struggling to stay active, it's time to stop, take a deep breath, and truly listen to what their body is telling you. This isn't just about a change in appearance. It's the body sending a profound and deeply significant message. Understanding this message now, with empathy and unwavering compassion, can help guide you through the difficult journey ahead. It allows you to appreciate and cherish the remaining moments with a newfound clarity, knowing that the time you have together is more precious than words can ever express. We must be fully present and make each fleeting moment count, not out of fear of what's to come, but out of deep love and profound respect for the natural path that is unfolding before your very eyes. Number 2. Extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the most heart-wrenching signs in the year leading up to the end of life is an overwhelming, unrelenting fatigue that seems to seep into every fiber of their being. This is not the kind of tiredness that can be remedied by a good night's sleep or a strong cup of coffee. It's a deep, all-consuming exhaustion that remains despite any amount of rest. It's not about feeling a bit worn out after a busy day. It's about a profound weariness that feels like it's rooted deep within their very bones. Even the simplest of tasks can suddenly become monumental, requiring an immense and almost unbearable effort. Rising from bed feels like climbing a steep mountain. A short walk across the room feels like running a grueling marathon. Everyday activities that once felt like second nature, like preparing a simple meal, getting dressed in the morning, or even holding a short conversation with a loved one, now drain the person to their very core, leaving them utterly depleted. This profound fatigue isn't merely a symptom of normal aging. It's a significant sign that the body is working incredibly hard to conserve what little precious energy it has left. As vital organ function gradually slows down, the body instinctively begins to prioritize what is absolutely most essential for survival. The heart, once a strong and reliable pump, no longer beats as efficiently. Circulation weakens, and vital muscles aren't receiving the oxygen they once did so readily. As this happens, those in their final months begin to feel increasingly weaker, unsteady on their feet, and less capable of sustaining the activities they once enjoyed with such vigor and enthusiasm. Metabolic slowdown also plays a significant role in this pervasive exhaustion. The body, once so efficient at utilizing energy, now shifts its focus entirely towards self-preservation. Instead of fueling movement and activity, the remaining energy is desperately diverted to keeping vital organs functioning for as long as possible. This is why many elderly individuals in decline may need to sleep for extended periods, finding themselves utterly unable to stay awake for long stretches of time or needing multiple naps throughout the long day. It's as if the body has made a profound decision that the last precious reserves of energy should be carefully saved, not for activity and engagement, but simply for survival itself. The emotional toll of this relentless fatigue is perhaps the most devastating aspect to witness. Seniors who once took immense pride in their independence and their ability to care for themselves begin to feel deeply frustrated, perhaps even profoundly embarrassed, by their growing inability to do the things they once did with such effortless ease. They might increasingly withdraw from conversations, shy away from social interactions that once brought them joy, or stop engaging in beloved hobbies, not because they've suddenly lost interest, but because their frail bodies simply can no longer support their passions and desires. If you are still watching this video and find these crucial lessons useful and informative, please leave a comment with the number 1 below to simply let me know that you are still here with me, absorbing this important information. This withdrawal often sadly leads to increased isolation, and isolation, as we know from countless studies, can tragically accelerate the overall decline. Watching someone you love dearly go from being active and fully engaged in life to becoming withdrawn and utterly exhausted is gut-wrenching and deeply painful for any family member. You may feel utterly helpless, desperately unsure of how to help or how to fill the heavy silence that now lingers in the room where laughter and lively conversation once echoed. It's easy to mistakenly assume they're just being lazy or that they simply need to push through this overwhelming fatigue. But the harsh reality is that pushing them will not help. In fact, it could cause further distress. The body is speaking to you in its own way, and it's absolutely vital to listen with your whole heart. What's most profoundly important in these delicate moments is gently acknowledging their clear limitations. Allow them the precious space and ample time they need to rest, to find what little comfort they can in quiet stillness. No amount of activity or encouragement will ultimately change the natural course of what is happening. Instead, lovingly focus on cherishing the quiet conversations that can still happen, creating peaceful moments of calm and serenity, and simply being present with them. It's about making their remaining days as comfortable and peaceful as humanly possible, free from the added pressure of feeling like they need to be doing something or engaging in activities that are now beyond their physical capabilities. In the end, what truly matters is not what they can still do, but how they feel in their heart, whether they feel deeply loved, truly understood, and completely supported in their vulnerability. When all else fades away, the unconditional love we give and the gentle care we provide are what leave the deepest and most lasting mark on their soul. Number 3. Increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal. As we approach the final stages of life, the mind can undergo some truly heartbreaking transformations that can be incredibly difficult to witness. It's as if the person you've known and loved for so long, who once possessed an engaging sharpness of mind and a vibrant personality, starts to slowly slip away, like sand through your fingers. It's not just occasional forgetfulness, which can be a normal part of aging, but a gradual and often relentless unraveling of their cognitive abilities that is profoundly hard to watch and even harder to fully understand. The person who once remembered everything with remarkable clarity, from the smallest details of everyday life to the most cherished memories of the past, may now tragically struggle to recall familiar names, recognize beloved faces, or even remember events that happened just yesterday. Their once clear and logical thoughts might now feel like an endless and disorienting maze of confusion, leaving them feeling lost and vulnerable. And this isn't just a fleeting moment of absent-mindedness. This is something far more profound and deeply emotional for those of us who are witnessing this heartbreaking change in a loved one. It can feel like a quiet and persistent grief, a slow and agonizing loss of the person we once knew so intimately. Imagine the pain of watching someone so full of life, knowledge, and vibrant memory slowly losing their ability to connect to the very things that used to define them, the things that made them who they were. Conversations become increasingly harder to follow, their responses may be delayed or nonsensical, and their presence in familiar places seems tragically overshadowed by an increasing sense of disorientation and bewilderment. They may seem strangely unaware of their immediate surroundings or get inexplicably lost in places they once knew like the back of their hand, places where they felt safe and secure for decades. Where once they were lively, engaged, and eager to participate in conversations and activities, they may now increasingly withdraw into themselves, becoming noticeably quieter, more detached, and seemingly distant. And that heartbreaking quietness isn't because they no longer care or because they've lost interest in their loved ones. It's often because their precious mind is simply no longer able to efficiently process the complex emotions and connections it once did so effortlessly. This subtle but persistent cognitive decline is a deeply emotional journey for both the person experiencing it and their loving family members. It's not simply a phase of forgetfulness that can be easily dismissed. It's a significant sign that the mind is slowly pulling away, preparing for the inevitable transition as the body weakens. You may witness fleeting moments of lucidity, where their eyes suddenly clear and they seem like their old selves again, only to have that precious clarity fade back into confusion just as quickly, leaving you with a bittersweet pang of hope and then the stark reality of their decline. It's as though their mind is slipping in and out of time, leaving both them and us in a state of profound helplessness and sorrow. But perhaps the most devastating part of this difficult process is the accompanying emotional withdrawal. It's as if the person who once had the vibrant energy to light up a whole room is now slowly retreating into the deepest corners of themselves, withdrawing from social interactions that once brought them immense joy and a sense of connection. They may sit in silence for long periods, perhaps gazing blankly out the window, seemingly lost in their own thoughts, but it's often not a conscious choice. Their precious brain simply no longer processes engagement and interaction in the same way it once did. The quietness is often a direct result of their minds struggling to keep up with the complexities of the world around them, not a reflection of a lack of love or care for their cherished family. Even simple conversations can become tiring and overwhelming, often leaving them feeling exhausted, agitated, or deeply frustrated. Familiar places that once provided comfort and security may now inexplicably feel foreign and unsafe. The social interactions they once thrived on and looked forward to may now feel burdensome and anxiety-inducing. This is no longer entirely the person you once knew so well, and yet, deep down, they are still there, beneath the surface of confusion and withdrawal. They are still the same beloved person, just one whose mind and emotions are no longer able to keep pace with their weakening body. Watching someone you love dearly drift away mentally can feel like the slowest, most painful kind of loss imaginable. It's as if you're losing them bit by agonizing bit, even though they are still physically present, sitting right there in front of you. And that heartbreaking reality often makes it even harder to bear. The emotional toll on the family members and loved ones who are witnessing this profound transformation is immense. They may feel utterly helpless, deeply frustrated, and overcome with a profound sense of grief, watching someone they love lose their precious touch with reality in ways they cannot control or understand. The truth is, it's usually not that your loved one doesn't want to engage with you. It's that their mind and body are simply no longer cooperating in the way they once did. They are often fighting an internal battle that is incredibly difficult for us to fully comprehend. In these incredibly delicate moments, the very best thing you can do is to gently meet them where they are, approaching them with unwavering kindness, infinite patience, and boundless understanding. Don't try to force them back into a conversation they can't follow or expect them to respond in the same way they used to. Instead, offer quiet comfort with your loving presence. Speak softly and reassuringly, provide gentle physical touch if they are receptive, and always remember that even in their silence and apparent withdrawal, they can still feel the warmth and sincerity of your love. It's absolutely crucial to recognize these subtle cognitive changes early on and to understand that this is often the body and mind's natural and gentle process of preparing for the final transition. Cherish the quiet moments, create an environment that is peaceful, safe, and familiar, and know that even though their words may sadly fade, your loving presence will still speak volumes to their heart. The unconditional love you offer in these final stages, even without spoken words, will be deeply felt in their soul because, in the end, love transcends memory, and even when cognitive clarity fades, your love will be the one constant thing that endures. Number 4. Frequent infections and slow healing. As the body gently approaches its final stage, it often becomes more susceptible to even the most basic physical challenges, ones that in their younger and healthier years would have been easily fought off by a robust immune system. It's as though the body's natural defenses, once so strong and resilient, begin to gradually weaken and wane. You might sadly notice that someone who rarely caught colds or dealt with minor infections is now constantly battling something, be it a persistent cough that just won't go away, a recurring fever that leaves them feeling weak and drained, or even a simple wound, like a small cut or scrape, that stubbornly refuses to heal despite your best efforts. And these aren't just minor annoyances that can be easily dismissed. They are often glaring signs that the body is no longer capable of effectively fighting off infections and injuries in the way it once did. For family members who are watching this happen to someone they love, it can be a deeply frustrating and even heartbreaking experience. You may find yourself repeatedly asking, why won't they heal like they used to? What's going on? The answer sadly lies in the body's gradually slowing systems. The immune system, which once responded quickly and effectively to any perceived threat, is no longer able to mount the same robust defense. Repeated infections, such as pneumonia that leaves them gasping for breath or painful urinary tract infections that cause discomfort and confusion, become more frequent and harder to treat. Even minor wounds that would have healed in a matter of days now stubbornly take weeks, or even longer, to show any signs of improvement. It's truly heartbreaking to see someone you love struggle with something as seemingly simple as a sore or a bruise that refuses to heal, a stark and undeniable reminder of the increasing fragility of life. As the body's circulation gradually slows down and vital organ function declines, even the simplest and most common medical treatments can become less effective than they once were. Antibiotics, which once worked wonders in clearing up infections, may now seem almost powerless, leaving your loved one in a seemingly endless cycle of treatment that never seems to bring lasting relief. It's as if the body, once so full of vibrant vitality, has become a battleground where even the smallest injury or infection can escalate into a much larger and more serious issue. It's a cruel reminder that the body is slowly giving in, no longer able to effectively fight back against the constant barrage of challenges it faces. But what truly breaks the heart is that infections in the very elderly often don't present in the typical way we might expect. They don't always come with the obvious symptoms of a high fever or shaking chills. Instead, the signs can be much more subtle and easily overlooked: a sudden increase in confusion or disorientation, a noticeable loss of appetite that persists, or a quiet and pervasive weariness that lingers long after the infection should have cleared. This can make it incredibly difficult for families to recognize that something is seriously wrong until it's tragically too late to intervene effectively. It's easy to become fixated on trying to cure these recurring infections, to push for more rounds of medication, desperately hoping for a miracle cure. But sometimes, the real miracle lies not in a complete cure, but in providing comfort and peace in their final days. The focus gently shifts from aggressively fighting the infection to simply comforting your loved one and ensuring they feel loved, safe, and cared for in their remaining time. Gentle hydration, adequate rest in a comfortable setting, and tender, loving care often become more important than relentlessly fighting an infection that may never fully go away. This process of accepting the body's natural decline isn't easy for anyone. Watching someone you love battle one illness after another can feel like an endless and agonizing cycle of loss. But it's also a profoundly important time to show them immense grace, unwavering compassion, and endless patience. In their final stages, what they often need most is not just medical intervention, but your unconditional love, your comforting presence, and your gentle reassurance that they are not alone in this difficult journey. It's the quiet moments of tenderness, the soft touch on their hand, the gentle words of comfort that will truly make a significant difference in their overall well-being and peace of mind. Because in the end, it's not the wounds or the infections that will ultimately define their life's journey. It's the profound love and gentle care they receive along the way from those who cherish them most. Number 5. Major changes in breathing or circulation. As the body edges closer to its final moments, one of the most poignant and unmistakable signs that the end is near is the noticeable change in their breathing patterns and overall circulation. These changes often arrive slowly and quietly at first, like an unspoken whisper of what's to come, before gradually growing louder and more frequent, becoming impossible to ignore. For a loving family member, it's incredibly heart-wrenching to witness these significant shifts, knowing deep down that they mark the inevitable and irreversible slowing down of the precious life force within their loved one. You may sadly begin to notice their breath becoming more shallow, slower, or even interrupted by noticeable pauses between each inhale. At times, it might even sound like their breathing is labored or irregular, sometimes quick and shallow, then at other times slow and deep, leaving you with an unsettling feeling of helplessness and a growing sense of dread. One of the most significant changes you might observe is the onset of a gentle, almost rhythmic breathing pattern called Cheyne-Stokes respiration. This distinctive pattern is characterized by alternating periods of increasingly deep and rapid breaths, followed by long, silent pauses where breathing seems to stop altogether. While this can be understandably alarming to witness for the first time, it's simply a natural response from the body as it gently shifts into a different and final phase of life. And while this pattern may begin subtly and infrequently, over time it often becomes more pronounced, with the cycles becoming longer and the pauses more frequent. You may find yourself watching helplessly, counting the breaths and the agonizing pauses, feeling the emotional weight of each shallow inhale and each prolonged silence, as if the body itself is slowly preparing for its final, eternal rest. Alongside these significant changes in breathing, their circulation also often weakens noticeably, leaving their extremities feeling cold and distant to the touch. Their hands, feet, and even their nose or ears may feel icy cold, as if the very warmth of life is gradually fading away from their body. Their skin can also turn noticeably pale, almost ghostly in appearance, or even take on a bluish tint, particularly around their fingertips and toes. This is the body's natural way of prioritizing the flow of precious blood to the vital internal organs, ensuring they receive what little oxygenated blood is still circulating. It's a clear and undeniable signal that the heart is no longer pumping as strongly and efficiently as it once did. For family members, it's incredibly hard to watch someone you love become so physically distant in such a tangible way. But it is profoundly important to remember that these signs are a natural and often peaceful part of the dying process, not something that can be reversed or fought against, but something to be accepted with grace, understanding, and profound love. Even the simplest of movements can leave them feeling winded and gasping for air. A small shift in their position in bed, simply sitting up for a few moments, or even speaking a few short sentences might cause them to struggle for breath, leaving them exhausted and distressed. It's heartbreaking to witness when someone who once moved with such ease and grace now finds themselves gasping for air after the slightest exertion or having to stop mid-sentence to desperately catch their breath. Once ordinary and taken for granted tasks, like simply walking across a small room, can suddenly feel like insurmountable mountains to climb. And the palpable frustration mixed with a quiet resignation in their eyes is almost unbearable to witness. It's as though they are being held back by an invisible force they cannot control, and you, as their loving caregiver, feel utterly powerless to ease the heavy weight of their struggle. In some heartbreaking cases, fluid can also build up in their lungs, making every single breath an even more difficult and labored effort. The sound of a persistent, rattling cough or the unsettling gurgling noise that sometimes accompanies each shallow breath is a terrifying reminder of the increasing fragility of life. What might be easily dismissed as a common cold or a minor respiratory infection in a younger person is often a significant sign of the weakening of the lungs in the very elderly as their body struggles to take in enough vital oxygen. As their breathing becomes more labored, lying flat in bed may become completely intolerable, causing them to feel like they are suffocating. They may instinctively seek comfort by sitting up in bed, propped up by numerous pillows, or by spending more and more time resting in a recliner, finding that upright position makes it slightly easier to breathe. The simple act of breathing, something so often taken for granted throughout our lives, sadly becomes an exhausting and constant challenge. If you are still watching this video and find these crucial lessons useful and informative, please leave a comment with the number 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me, absorbing this vital information. For family members who are witnessing these profound changes in breathing and circulation, it is an incredibly heart-wrenching experience. There is often a deep and overwhelming sense of helplessness, a desperate longing to offer more comfort and relief than what you feel you are able to provide. You may feel an overwhelming urge to encourage them to breathe more deeply, to constantly check on them every few minutes to make sure they are still comfortable and breathing, but there is a profound truth to accept here: sometimes, despite our deepest desires, there is no quick fix or easy solution for what is naturally happening. Instead of focusing all your energy on trying to reverse the inevitable, the priority must gently shift to making their remaining time as peaceful, comfortable, and dignified as humanly possible. Simple comforts, such as keeping the room cool and well ventilated, using a humidifier to ease their breathing, or offering small, frequent sips of water to keep their mouth moist, can make a world of difference in their overall comfort. But ultimately, what they often need most during this delicate time is your loving presence, your gentle reassurance that they are not alone, and your unwavering acceptance of the natural process that is unfolding. While medications or oxygen therapy may provide some temporary relief and improve their immediate comfort, the overall focus will increasingly shift toward maximizing their comfort rather than attempting to correct or reverse the natural course of their decline. If you notice these significant signs, noticeable changes in their breathing patterns, consistently cold hands and feet, or a bluish tint to their skin, please pay close attention to what their body is telling you. These are not signs to be feared or ignored, but rather to be understood as gentle signals that their body is quietly conserving energy and gradually slowing down in a peaceful and dignified manner. It is a precious time to simply be there for them, to offer unwavering reassurance, and to create a calm and loving environment where they feel safe, cherished, and deeply loved, where they know, without a shadow of a doubt, that they are not alone as they approach the end of their earthly journey. Final thoughts. As we gently come to the end of this important discussion, I sincerely encourage you to take a moment to reflect on the 5 key signs we've explored today: drastic and unintentional weight loss, overwhelming and persistent fatigue, increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal, frequent infections and slow healing, and the noticeable shifts in breathing patterns and circulation. These are the subtle but significant clues that may appear in the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. These changes may come on gradually, and you might initially dismiss them or hope they will simply pass, but eventually, the truth often becomes undeniably clear. For many families, accepting these profound changes can be incredibly difficult and emotionally challenging. It's only natural to want to fight against them with all your might, to desperately encourage a loved one to eat more, to push them to move more, to hold on to life with every ounce of your being. But the reality is that sometimes, the most loving and compassionate thing we can do is to gently honor what their precious body is telling us. We cannot ultimately reverse the inevitable natural process of life, but we absolutely can make their remaining time on this earth as peaceful, comfortable, and profoundly meaningful as humanly possible. Understanding these often overlooked signs isn't about fearing the end of life or dwelling in sadness. It's about thoughtfully preparing for it with an open heart and a clear mind. Recognizing these delicate changes early on gives you the invaluable chance to make informed decisions about their care, to offer them the very best support in their final months, and to ensure that their last chapter is filled with unconditional love, unwavering dignity, and profound peace. This is a sacred time to truly cherish every fleeting moment you have left together, to openly share heartfelt stories, to express your deepest love and gratitude, and to let them know, without any doubt, that they are deeply valued and cherished, that their life has not been lived in vain, and that they are absolutely not alone as they embark on this final part of their journey. As we reflect on these significant signs and the inevitable changes that come in the final stages of life, we sincerely hope that today's discussion has offered you not only a deeper understanding of this natural process but also a sense of inner peace and clarity as you navigate this challenging time with your loved ones. The journey of life is beautifully filled with moments of immense love, shared laughter, inevitable hardship, and ultimately, the deep and profound acceptance of life's natural rhythms and cycles. It's so important to remember that recognizing these often subtle changes in our beloved family members allows us the precious opportunity to offer them the utmost comfort, unwavering dignity, and unconditional love during their final, most vulnerable moments. Now, let's take a quiet moment to gently reflect on what you've learned from our discussion today. What one thing stood out to you the most profoundly? What is one key takeaway that you will bring into practice in your own life or in the way you lovingly care for others? We would truly love to hear your thoughts and insights. Please feel free to share your reflections in the comments section below. And if you found this video helpful and informative, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with others who might benefit from this important information, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that is designed to help you navigate the complexities of life with wisdom, compassion, and grace. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we sincerely look forward to continuing this important journey together. Valuable lesson: recognizing the subtle signs of decline in our elderly loved ones allows us to shift our focus from simply prolonging life to enhancing the quality of their remaining time, prioritizing comfort, dignity, and meaningful connection.